Order. Arm.
Retire the colors.
Colors. Colors turn. Arm.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for invocation. We are honored today to have Chaplain Doyle Murray, the Commander, Chaplain's Corps, United States Navy, Supervisor, Navy Chaplain, Arlington National Cemetery to lead our invocation.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we pause in prayer at the beginning of this meeting for the Navy Museum Development Foundation and for the Association of United States Navy to give you profound thanks for the land in which we live and the liberties we enjoy. We thank you for these groups and for their ongoing support of sailors who shape these United States into a more perfect union and keep the peace around the world. We ask that you would be a part of the discussions and the deliberations that will take place during this meeting by enabling all of us to embrace this day as a gift and not a guarantee, encouraging us to see the best in each other even when we disagree, empowering us to be vigilant in the pursuit and protection of freedom. Oh God, we ask that you would continue to be strong to save all those who continue to keep the watch at home and abroad, and this group as it seeks to inspire the next generation of sailors. In your sovereign name, amen.
Thank you, Chaplain McMurray. Ladies and gentlemen, please take a seat. As I was already introduced, my name is Dennis Hunt. I am the Lieutenant Kenneth Anderson, DC Chapter President of the Association of U.S. Navy. Mouthful, but I got it right. Welcome you here. Welcome you to the annual meeting. We're happy you're able to join us today. Our meeting is being held at the National Museum of the United States Navy, located on National's capital at the historic Washington Navy Yard. National Museum of the U.S. Navy is led by the U.S.
Please.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I was just at the ROT award ceremony this morning, and so I got myself over here, and now I'm here with all of you today. And you all look great, and I'm really excited about this mission that we're forming and our partnership. And it's been a long journey to get here, and the main points that I want to stress is that Association United States Navy could afford to invest $1 million in order to create this partnership. And now through this important partnership, we can create the revenue streams that we need in order to sustain ourselves for years and years to come. And having the additional revenue stream is absolutely critical, because right now we're counting on membership, we're counting on our endowment, and we must create additional revenue streams in order for us to execute our mission. And mission was brought up, and we aligned great with the Navy Museum Development Foundation mission, and with that we can forward. And so it's going to require a tremendous amount of work. It's going to require the board of directors of the Association of United States Navy to pull together, and we absolutely must be successful in terms of our outreach and our revenue-driven goals that we'll have over the next not only 5 years, but probably 10 years. So with that, is there any other, would you like any other statement?
No, sir?
Yeah, that's my main points, is that we're going to be creating an additional revenue stream and an additional partnership which will sustain us, not only years, but possibly decades to come. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. I'm going to start the committee report portion of the meeting. I'm going to turn it over to Executive Director Steve Rogers to kick off with his report and summarize some of the other reports. Unfortunately, a lot of our chairs are not here today, and due to the limitations of the virtual environment, they wouldn't be able to present, so we're going to have a quick summary from Steve. But thank you for doing that, Steve.
Well, I'll tell you, this is a fascinating adventure for me to see what this organization is doing with the people who have worked so hard with the Museum Foundation. So I thank you for coming in here. You'll hear from me a little later with regard to some of the progress that I'm going to share with you and how we're going to integrate that into the mission that we have with the museum. But first and foremost, I've learned in life that no one can get things done without a good team. Without a good team that's dedicated and committed to the cause and the mission in which we are called to do. So, George and Pam, I'd like you to stand up. These two individuals work at our headquarters. They have worked so hard, and I know for the past 100 days, I know you lost a lot of sleep because of me, but I want to give you, and I think Michelle will be on virtual, and maybe Amy and others, but I think you deserve a lot of round of applause on it. Now, folks, we're making a lot of changes. We're making a lot of headway. And I think Brad said it earlier in his opening. He used the word vision, and there's a scripture that says, without vision, the people perish. We now have a vision, and we're not going to perish. Full speed ahead, working together as a team. Well, here we've done over the past 100 days. To begin with, our computer systems are being updated, our data is being updated. We're doing a lot technically and electronically, and that's helping us move forward at a good rate. Each member of our organization is going to receive, or is able now to receive, a membership card and a certificate of membership. In addition to that, all of our social media platforms are being reconstructed. Our website is now current, and it's going to be kept current by adding valuable content on a weekly, if not a monthly basis, including the resources that we're going to provide our members. Financial, social, spiritual, physical, and mental health programs will be available to them, and much more. In addition to that, we're going to add some unique benefits to our members. We're going to have a job resource center that they'll be able to contact, a chaplain's resource center, and an educational professional development programs we're going to include as part of their benefits. In addition to that, beginning July, we're already working on this, and we're kind of ahead of schedule because I'm going to have something posted very soon with regard to what I'm about to share with you. Beginning July, we're going to have AUSN briefings that include national security briefings. I've spoken to some people that are prior on ONI, and they're willing to give us national security briefings, unclassified, obviously. We're going to have Homeland Security, New York City Police Department, the terrorism task force members will be given that. We're going to have State of the Navy briefings. We need to know what's going on in our Navy so that we can pursue the goals and objectives of the CNO and of what our mission with the museum is all about. And there's going to be a lot of other briefings that we're going to have that we're going to put on our website, and that I'm sure will attract a lot of our members and others. Now, we're also creating a new recruitment package program. We're going to put together a package that our chapter presidents, and by the way, I've been in touch with a lot of them, and a lot of members, but they want to go out and recruit people, but they don't have the information they need. Well, they're going to get it. They're going to get it because we're going to make sure that we put together a small package that they'll be able to hand to people at events that hopefully they're going to be attending. Also, we're going to have what I call mini recruitment centers. We've already got 3 set up in New Jersey. What is that? Well, I went into a hobby shop, and I noticed in that hobby shop there were battleships, models, right? Model aircraft carriers, model planes. And I asked the owner of the hobby shop if the AUSN could have an event here where we'll invite children to come in and build naval models, naval-focused models. And every kid is going to get a certificate from us And at the same time, we're going to have recruitment packages at that event. And the guy at the hobby shop said, well, can they keep those packages here too? Because I have a lot of Navy people come in and they buy this stuff. Also, Barnes & Noble, this is a pilot program also. They've agreed to have us come in and to have an event for the AUSN and to recruit if we want members. Now, what are they going to get out of it? Well, I told them, look, you've got a lot of Navy books here. Well, you know what? Put them out on the table. We'll tell people to buy the books about naval history. We'll do that for you. If you do for us, you give us the access we need to the people. And then, what is really important, folks, is that we need to get out to the people. And I'll expand upon that more when I speak to with regard to what we're doing with the museum. But we need to get out to the people. We need to get out to the communities. And we're going to do that beginning real soon by contacting Chamber of Commerce groups all over this country. Now, I know it sounds ambitious. Well, I'm an ambitious fellow, and we can do anything. We can do anything that we set our eyes on if we get together as a team. And we're going to get to the Chamber of Commerce. We're going to get to small business owners. We're going to get the community behind who? Not only behind the AUSN, but behind this project and behind the United States Navy. So we're going to connect with people in the communities. We're already starting it. Some people say, well, it's kind of slow. It's going to be a slow process. Well, when people say that to me, I remember the words of Abraham Lincoln when he said, Mr. President, you're moving slowly. His answer was, well, I may be moving slowly, but I'm moving forward. And that's what we're doing, folks. We're moving forward. So during the past few months, I had the pleasure of meeting people from all different types of organizations, like the Blue Star families and groups like that. So there's a lot more involved in our organization, but I just, Mr. Chairman, wanted to let you and the members know here, we're on our way as an organization. No turning back. You know what? Anchors, what do? They hold you in one spot. But we're pulling that anchor up, we're sailing towards that sunrise that I talked about in that video a few months ago. Thank you, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you.
And we also call him Captain America. So I'll move on with our agenda. But before I do that, I want to recognize some of our board members that made the trip, and thank you. I'll start with Claudia Mansfield-Sutton. Thank you. We appreciate you coming out and bringing your thoughts and ideas and experience to this organization. Always much appreciated. Next, we have Dave Bradley, who came all the way from Southern California. Dave's no stranger to AUSN. He's probably one of the longest serving members of this organization. There probably wouldn't be an AUSN without Dave. And I tell you, he was our last serving national president. Did that with incredible energy. His spirit and love for this organization unparalleled. But thank you for making the long trip. We have a new board member, Mr. Stiegel. Bill, thank you. If you want to stand up, say hello. We appreciate you making the time as well. You have a busy schedule, having to arrange a few things, but thank you for coming. And also, Bob Barnett, also not a new member, but one I'm really excited to get to know better. Thank you for all you've done in volunteering on the committees and helping lend a hand when needed. And then finally, I look over, and of course, we have Ronnie Wright. And thank you, sir, for your gravitas you bring to this organization, your great ideas. Someone who we always rely on to be a voice of reason when we sometimes have our disagreements in our board meetings. I think everyone looks to Ronnie to make sure we get set straight. So thank you for making time today. And of course, you heard from Dave. Dave, thank you for everything. Appreciate it. So with that, I think that concludes the business portion of our meeting. We'll now move on to our brief presentation, win-win-win. I think I'm kicking that off. So. And thank you again to our partners at the Museum and Foundation, so their board members that are here. This is, again, we're always fortunate to have access to this facility and graciously helping us organize this. I think one of the reasons we're here today is because of someone who can't be here with us. As some of you already know, Captain Lauren Page was instrumental in working with AUSN's Board of Directors to develop a new strategic plan to reignite the association, its chapters, and develop a close relationship with the Navy Museum Development Foundation that's working on this new exciting Navy museum. I know Lauren is above us, attentively listening to this today to make sure it turns out okay. So I want to express my thanks to you, Lauren, for being such a dear friend. Through all the difficulties that have arisen over the last 3 years, your friendship and support to me has been important. Lauren, I'm one colleague among many that wants you to know how much I miss your lady candor. I can see now that God looks after our needs so well. Providence sent us Lauren to help us get where we are here today. I remember meeting Lauren for the first time when AUSN was at the crossroads 3 years ago. Some of you may remember that board meeting. While I was unsure about the future, Lauren was a flood of ideas and energy. I was taken with Lauren's unrelenting optimism. That, for me, became an unremitting reminder that optimism can always be relearned. I remember feeling so comfortable around Lauren, and in my line of work, that experience is rare. His honesty and loyalty defined our friendship. It was such a blessing to know that anyone could pick up the phone and call Lauren whenever they needed advice, Lauren said no. But for you at AUSN, Lauren gave this organization a magical gift. It was a gift that helps fulfill dreams, a gift that wins the day against overwhelming problems, a gift that lets us enjoy the fruits of victory after laboring hard to reap what we have sown. That gift is the gift of courage to keep going. Emerson wrote, "What a new face courage puts on everything." No truer statement was ever written. Whenever it appears, courage changes things for the better. It can be mundane, like the courage to get up on a cold, miserable morning and go to work. It's the courage to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. It's the courage to follow the silent voice within you when it means going against the crowd or speaking out when you know what you're going to say is unpopular. It's the courage to stay with something long enough to succeed at it. Lauren loved the Navy, loved AUSN, like many of you that are here and given so much. He served AUSN as a volunteer leader at the national and chapter levels, and in August of 22, he was selected as our interim executive director. He was a surface warfare officer with 30 years on destroyers, cruisers, countless sea stories, staffs at OSD, PACOM, NAVRES. He was a CEO of a technology and financial planning company. Before he became the executive director, he was working in Wisconsin at a shipyard that was building our next Constellation-class frigate. Ryan Zinke, a former commander of SEAL Team 6, said something that could be said about Lauren. He said, "We all serve, not just the heroic men and women in uniform, but each and every one of us. We do it by caring for our families, our friends, our co-workers, our neighbors, our America." Thank you, Lauren, my dear friend, for all your prayers and for being there when we needed your caring way. You may never know how grateful we are for bringing a little light into our lives, a little hope to make AUSN great again. As I think about it today, God's light really does shine through you. Lauren, you've been such a blessing to us all. Pray for us now that you can really see the big picture. So thank you. I'm going to turn it over now to Steve to go through our presentation, an exciting and dynamic PowerPoint that I'm sure you're all agree.
That tribute to Lauren deserves.
forging ahead, folks, are we not? And I'll tell you what, supporting the Navy's warfighter mission. Let's talk about that for a minute. But before we do, I want you to try to capture that you and I are sitting here today, and this is history. This is history in the making. History for the Navy, history for the AUSN, history for this museum foundation. And you know what's really neat about this? This history will not be forgotten. This history will be handed down to our children, our grandchildren, and our relatives. Something that we could all be proud of and leave behind when we're gone. It's so important, folks, to understand that we cannot do this alone. As I said earlier, no one person is going to be able to accomplish the goals and achieve what has been set before us. But we're going to do it. We're going to do it because we've been able to build a team of dedicated, committed people that are willing to take a step up, talk up, and just do what has to be done to get the job done. Now, you know, we are going to hear the word warfighter as I move on. That's what this is all about, the 21st century warfighter. As you see, supporting Navy's warfighters mission. But keep in mind, you here today, and you watching, and others, you are the warfighter's warfighter. Because while they're fighting that war to keep this nation strong, but we're doing our part here to keep them strong, to keep the nation strong. So here's what we're going to do. People ask me, well, what is the mission of the AUSN with regard to the partnership that we've been able to create with the foundation? Well, it says honor veterans, right? Honor veterans. Well, how are we going to honor vets? What are we going to do to honor vets? Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do what we did just last week, and what's going to be finished on Sunday, 2 days ago. We got a call from a detective lieutenant who actually called the AUSN to do something for his uncle, who's 100 years old, a World War II fighter pilot, in a hospital, and he thought it would be great if we could get in touch with maybe the USS Hornet Association, and if we as an association could do anything to honor him as he is approaching perhaps 101. I said, we're not only going to get in touch with the USS Hornet Association, but what we're going to do is we're going to send one of our representatives up to the hospital, and we're going to give your uncle a certificate of honorable membership to the AUSN, and we're going to give him a challenge coin or a medal. And on top of that, we'll have the press come. And you make sure your uncle gets into that newspaper and that people know exactly what he did and what the Navy and his colleagues are doing for you. Well, how can we get this done? Remember I talked about teamwork? I called our Chicago chapter president, the Navy captain. And I asked him if he could help us achieve this because the 100-year-old vet's in the Chicago area. Well, he made a call to another captain who doesn't live far from that location where the vet is. So on Sunday, guess what's happening? It'll be a nice ceremony with the whole family and with us represented. And that, to me, is how we honor our veterans. How about supporting men and women who are warfighters? See that second one there? Well, how about this, folks? I kind of talked about it earlier. We're going to establish community partnership programs. We need to get out to the people. We need to let the people know that you have military veterans here in the United States Navy, active reservists, Marines, Coast Guard. They live next to you. They're your neighbors. But you need to know what they do. You need to know the critical job they do to keep America safe. So we're going to begin, as I said, exposing what they're doing at small business meetings, chambers of commerce, and we're going to do a host of other things. But one thing that we're going to do that I don't think any other organization in this country has done, we achieved last week. We formed a partnership of shared services with a municipal government, Veterans and Affairs Bureau, and Health Bureau. And we're going to be now sharing our services with that municipal government, and they're going to be sharing their services with us, especially in the area of the health departments. Because they have, and I convinced the commissioners there, you've got Navy veterans who live on your street, let alone in your community, and they need our help. They need to know that the people are behind them. They need to know their fellow sailors are behind them.
Marines behind them, Coast Guard's men and women behind them. They need to know we're behind them. They don't get a lot of that, folks. So you look at the news today, and you just don't see a lot of good stuff in the news. But we're going to be the good news that's going to be delivered to them. My Marco Rubio moment. Remember that? So that's how we're going to get these things out. That's how we're going to support our Navy and support the warfighters. Now, what about these pilot projects? Well, I just shared with you that, yeah, we're going to be working with municipal governments. We're going to be working with other entities. And I've got to tell you, what we're doing is exactly what the Museum Foundation outlined in the purpose of what we're to do in the mission and the goals set before us by the CNO. Now, what do you think about this? Physical health is important in the United States Navy. But not only is it going to be for the warfighter in the building, for the warfighter's family, the spouse, the kids. We cannot forget them. And God bless this Museum Foundation that's taken this thing by the, I was going to say the bull by the horns, but how about the ship by the, whatever, stern or, hull or whatever. But God bless them, because they've recognized that we've got issues we got to deal with, and we're here to help. And it's falling in line exactly what the CNO is requesting. And then the mental health. Well, our first video is going to go up. George advised me. I spoke with some people who are working on suicide prevention, specifically focusing in on the Navy. I've interviewed them. They're going to go up on our website soon. Suicide, depression, a whole score of things. Now, a lot of you know that my civilian career was a detective lieutenant in a police department. And I can't begin to tell you how many domestic violence calls that we've gone to. Violent stuff going on, right? And you find out that, yeah, a lot of these people who are involved in these horrific incidents are military veterans. And the reason is, folks, is that basically, during that time, they really didn't have any resources to go to. There were resources, but none like what we're going to do, what the foundation is looking to do, and what we're doing as their partner. None like that. It just needs somebody to say, and somebody who wore the uniform, who was a warfighter, somebody who was out there and walked in their combat boots and shoes, sailed on ships. They need somebody. And the wives, the husbands, the spouses, the children, they're the silent ones. They're the ones that nobody hears from, but they're crying out. But again, this foundation, an organization partnering to help them, help is on the way. Recruitment, retain Navy personnel. Well, I read what the CNO's mandate was, or at least the request. They need help in retaining people. They need help in recruitment of Navy personnel, the Marines, the Coast Guard. Well, this foundation again, and this is our organization, establishing these partnerships, including recruiters. That's right. I'm going to have some of these recruiters have pizza with me up there in North Jersey. And we're going to sit down with them, and we're going to open up some doors for them. They need help. They're not welcomed everywhere, folks. But we're going to make sure we open the doors for them. I'll tell you a little story about one of our recruitment partners. It's an Italian deli in New Jersey. We got a lot of them up there. And I walked in and I talked to the owner, told him what I'd like to do. I'd like to set up a table here, bring some Navy recruiters in, and invite people to come and talk to us about the Navy. So the guy says to me, he says, I'd like to develop the AUSN mini submarine sandwich. I said, that'd be great. And then I said, how about the P3 Orient pastrami sandwich? And the guy's doing it. He's actually, put up there, those signs. And the key is, he's saying, look, we want to be connected to what you're doing. And so that's our way of saying, you're welcome, bring them in. Lunch is on me. Well, you may regret that when it comes to profits, because we're going to bring a lot of people in. High school kids. We're reaching out to high school kids. Now, we know we can't go into schools, but nothing prevents us from talking to them outside of school, on their way home when they stop in that deli and other businesses. We're going to go to and speak to PTAs and PTO groups about the Navy, about recruitment, about we want the kids to stay out of gangs and troubles, get them in the Navy, Marines, and the Coast Guard. And what we will have with us, not only our recruitment packages and recruitment packages for the Navy, but we're going to have information about this museum. Nowhere in the country is there going to be a museum like this. And this is a beautiful place to come to. And who knows, maybe down the road, the AUSN will be able to partner with some of the district governments and boards of education to sponsor trips here. Yep, I tell you, it's an ambitious agenda, but I believe in shooting for the stars. Because if you fall, you're going to fall amongst the stars. That's what we need to do. And then, how about inspiration? Well, inspire the greatness to come. Well, we're reaching out to people who live and work in the communities where our warfighters live. And the inspiration is going to be given to our warfighters by our action. Not just words, but by deeds. And they will be inspired when they see exactly what this foundation is doing at this museum and what we're going to do as an organization. We're going to participate in a lot of events. And I know there's a Tailhook and there's a lot of other associations that have all kinds of events. But I'll tell you folks, the most effective event to go to is the ones being held by PTOs and PTAs. I've been invited to speak at one on June 25th. First one. Parent called me up and said, I know you're involved with the Navy. You want to make a donation to a good cause, so would you come and speak? And do you have any ideas of any donations, any recommendations of any organizations? I said, I got them for you right now. The AUSN and the museum. Why the museum? Education. They're starving for education. They're starving for history. They're starving for things, frankly, that the public schools are not giving them. Doesn't mean we can't give them. And I'll tell you what, when you walk into the cities and walk into the streets where they're rid of problems that kids are facing, they want what we have to offer. What we got to do is go out as a team, all right, as a team, and get it to them. So I'll let you know how June 25th turned out. I'm excited about it because we didn't go looking for them, they came looking for us. We're also, folks, as the AUSN, every single month, if not every month, every 2 months, well, I'm going to hold Zoom meetings with our members, and then another Zoom meeting with our committee leaders, another Zoom meeting with chapter presidents. Why? Because we need to hear from them. They're out there, and they need to hear from us. Frankly, we need to know what they need so we can provide them with the things they need. And I intend to do that. But there's going to be a lot of communication back and forth. George and Pam, you're going to lose a lot of sleep going forward. Because I depend on you, because with these two individuals and Michelle and that whole crew, they get the job done. I never have to ask twice. They get the job done. Yesterday, George, for the first time in all these months, he used the word, he says, look, I'm a little frustrated. I had to take some time off. I get it. You're frustrated because of your commitment. And Pam, sorry to bother you night and day, but you're getting the job done. So these are the things and the opportunities we have. And then when you go to slide 2 about supporting the warfighter and the Navy Museum, well, through creating an active and effective support team, and I really talked about that a lot. What we're going to do is establish, I think, one of the first Office of Legislative Affairs that maybe any organization doesn't have. The AUSN, we're putting together the Office of Legislative Affairs. Dave Bradley's here. He's our chairman of the Legislative Committee. Thank you, Dave, for all the work you've done. And we've got help is on the way. Now, here's the theory behind that. You know, I've been in politics pretty much in my adult life. City councilman, ran for governor of New Jersey, did all of that. But I got to tell you, folks, I've learned something about how to get political people who can help us, how to get their attention. So here's what we're going to do. In addition to the lobby, I'm committed, Dave, to get you a little over 500 people to help me. Dave, I know when I said that to you, you probably said this guy had too much to drink. But I got to tell you how we're going to do it. Congressmen, senators, they listen to the people who live and work in their district. So my goal is, our goal is to have one representative from the AUSN in every congressional district in this country. And when we need something, Dave and his committee are going to reach out to them, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to get people in the community. Remember I told you about the PTO, the moms, the dads, everybody that loves the military? We're going to get them to do something that's effective, and that's write letters and make phone calls. That's how you get to them. How do I know? I was one of them. Lobbyists came in, special interests came in, and I got to tell you, all right, come on in, let me hear the same song and dance. Let me hear what 19 other people had to say. But when moms came in, and grandmoms and grandfathers came in, I've got to tell you, your ears light up. Public support for the Navy, for the museum, for what we're doing is critical for the future. So get ready, buddy. Get ready. We're on our way. So, folks, I will say this to you. Our 75th anniversary campaign, Dave, thank you. You took care of that financial end of it. No better man on earth as far as I'm concerned, if you explain it the way you did. So I would say this, at the end of the day, shall I Brad say at the end of the watch? How's that? I love that. At the end of the watch, not only we will be standing the watch, the AUSN and the museum, but you know who else is going to be standing the watch when we're through? The American people. The people that we reached out into every community and city in this country. They will be standing the watch for them. And that's a win for our sailors. That's a win for our Marines. It's a win for our Coast Guard men and women. It's a win for them and their families. It's a win for the Navy. It's a win for the AUSN. And it's a win for the United States of America. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks, Greg. Members, guests, thank you for joining us today. This annual business meeting is adjourned, so let's go have some